Hope you enjoy the show. Here's my co-host, Josh.
Hey Brett, really excited about our guest this week. This week we have Aubrey Landry from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, one of me and Brett's very close friends, and actually currently lives with me, and he's just in the other room over here. He's also a member of Acadia Swimming and a coach with Acadia Performance Training. How are you, Aubrey?
I'm great. Excited to be here.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
I think we're going to start with something that's close to all of our hearts, swimming. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into swimming and what kind of your career has been like leading into Acadia and then your time at Acadia?
So I started swimming at the age of 9 with the Shearwater Bluefin Swim Club. Um, uh, when I was younger, I was more of like a distance swimmer, and then progressively as I got older, I kind of grew apart from that. I've had a lot of coaches with the sport of swimming. Like I think when I first started, there was Amanda, which I think she coached you as well, Josh, right?
Yeah, Amanda
Yeah.
did coach.
And
Coach
then we had one guy who was from Australia who came and coached us. His name was James. And then
Got here some Murray? Hello?
yeah. And then that brings me to Acadia, where I think that's where like my swimming career really took off. I think I might throughout like age group swimming, I was always the oldest on the team. So it was kind of training by myself for the most part. The other guy who was closest to my age was 2 years younger. He was really good at a younger age, but then kind of like plateaued. And then I kind of hit a plateau as well because I had nobody to really race against during practices. So I think that's kind of where Acadia really helped me. Is like I was always finally training with a bunch of people my age, and it was very competitive. And I was able to, I don't know, it was just like the culture of Acadia swimming is really what helped me get to that next level and like break that barrier I was at in swimming.
I think that's
Yeah,
a
it's
big thing we
funny.
talk about a lot, the
It's
culture.
funny. I remember when you were coming in and Gary's like, "Oh, I'm bringing another distance swimmer. You're going to train with him a lot," and we never trained together.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought I was a distance swimmer. I think it's because I told him I've done triathlons. I think he just thought of that as distance, but triathlon was just like a one to 2 year thing that I tried to do to make Team Canada. It wasn't really like my main focus. Like swimming was still my number one, but in like the summers I would do triathlon, just kind of like stay in shape. It was just for fun, and yeah, I haven't done one in a while, but I'm definitely once my swimming career is over, I can definitely see myself moving into the triathlon world.
Yeah, I'd love to talk on that later, like the afterwards kind of thing. But I remember you coming into first year during a recruiting trip. You told all of us, yeah, you haven't really specialized yet, and this was in grade 12.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like swimming for me is weird. Like every year, I train. I've always been like pretty decent at every single stroke, but every year I swear it changes. Like, say like first year I did a lot of free and back, and then that's what I thought was going to be my strokes for my university career. And then summer went around, and then I came back, and then my backstroke just, I don't know, I just didn't really feel the same, and it never, like, I tried to keep training it, and I never really got to that same feel that I did in first year. And I started doing more breaststroke, which is when I was younger, I did do a lot of breaststroke. So I think that kind of like came back to me. So now I'm kind of thinking IM and mid free and breaststroke.
And fly? Is this the year of fly for Aubrey?
Maybe in the 50 flying 200 IM.
Okay.
Why do you think? What do you think was different between your first year and second year in terms of backstroke and then in terms of the overall team?
In terms of backstroke, I think I might have just like hit that plateau. I'm never like backstroke is a very kick dominant stroke, and as everyone on the team knows, like kick is my weakest part of swimming. Like I'm garbage at it. I've been trying to get better, and it's not for me. I don't know what it is, but my legs build a lot of lactic acid when I'm just kicking, and I always just die. And then in terms of the team, like what do you mean by so like the culture and everything, or what?
Yeah, how did you feel like outside of just how you physically felt and how you were doing? what was the vibe? Like, do you think that had any influence at all, or what do you think?
Yeah. So like first year is obviously like a very like first year of university and like first time I've actually like seriously done weight training and actually did a weight lifting program that was actually made by a professional and not just me watching YouTube videos.
Watch
So I
Russell
think,
Muscle, guys. Subscribe.
yeah.
Keep going.
So that was like, I think the lifting was a big part of my improvement in first year. And then second year, it was very much just like we had a really big recruiting year. A bunch of these guys just came in, and it was really just like the energy, and that energy like moved into our training, and just like every day we just felt like we had a goal and we knew that this goal was achievable. And that's just kind of what helped motivate us like every day, knowing that we had a chance of winning the championship. So we really had to take that year seriously.
I feel like a highlight meet for you, or like a really big point in your career up until that point, was your first AUS. Can you talk about the feelings behind that? What went into that meet and what led to so much success for you? Because that really was a big meet for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, it feels like a blur now, but I remember like breaking that 2-minute and 200 free, which for me was a very big accomplishment because I've always like during age group swimming, I would see other people do that and I'd be like, wow, that's insane. Like that's super fast. And like in retrospect, it's not like that fast, but for me, it was a big accomplishment.
It's a barrier.
It was a barrier that's a big barrier to break for sure. And it was just such an adrenaline rush. And I don't know, it just felt amazing. Cause I remember like, I didn't even come, I don't remember if I was in the A final or not for that 200 free, or no, I think it was me, you, Marcin, and somebody else in the B final.
Yeah, rocking the B.
Yeah. But I just remember like touching that, or in the morning, I remember touching the wall, and I think I probably came like 5th or 6th in the heat, but I celebrated like as if I won. Like it's just seeing that time on the board, just saying 1.58, just really just like was amazing.
Yeah, I just
It's
pulled up
hard to
Meet Mobile,
describe.
and it was you, me, Marcin rocking the B final.
Yeah, that was a super fun race. I remember. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tough race, but it always feels good. Like those hard races, when you do well, it's worth the pain for sure.
It always feels good before the first 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you always been a swimmer? Or did you do any different sports throughout? You said you started swimming at like age 9 or something. Was that really your first introduction to sports? And
so when I lived in like Kingston, Ontario, I just played obviously like Timbit soccer, and I think I was in karate for like a year. And then I moved to BC, and I didn't play sports for 2 years. Like I think I did my school cross
you froze, Aubrey?
training. I was grade 2 or 3, so I never really got like that. I always liked sports, but for some reason I don't know why I just never really got into it when I was in BC. I wasn't there for long, and we lived pretty far away from the city, so like sports was just a big mission to get to. And then when I moved here, how I actually started swimming, which I forgot to mention, is my mom was going to sign me up for swimming lessons, and the swimming lessons were, the lineup was out the door, and she was basically, I'm not waiting in this line. And then the table right next to swimming lessons was the swim team. So she just went to check it out and basically signed me up.
That's crazy.
And I was excited about it. And then I had like a realization. I was like, oh my God, am I going to have to wear a Speedo? And then that was like the breaking point. Like if I found out at like 9 years old I had to wear a Speedo, I wasn't going to swim. And then I found out like what jammers were. So then I actually swam.
When did you start wearing a Speedo?
Probably like grade 10. And once you go Speedo, you can't go back.
Yeah, you can't go back. It's so much better.
Yeah,
that's so crazy to think that you like might not have even been here, and we might not have never met you if there hadn't been that long of a line.
Oh, it's insane.
That's insane.
You know, I never even finished swimming lessons. I think I got to like level 7, and then I went into competitive swimming, and then the rest was history.
I'm thinking back. For me, I think it was kind of like the exact opposite. I had a swimming pool in my backyard always, and I just always loved swimming, wanted more, finished swimming lessons, and I still wanted to do more. And then we heard about swim teams are a thing, competitive swimming. It's cool. When you start, Josh, because I mean you lived in Australia, right?
Yeah, when I lived in Australia, I started, and I didn't finish like lessons. I feel like the last level I did was like level 5, and then kind of transitioned to kind of more serious swimming after that.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about the triathlon thing. We kind of skimmed over that. I'm a triathlete, and
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit more of that. So how did you start? And then who were you training with, and kind of what did that look like? And then talk a little bit about the lead up to trying out for Canada Summer Games.
So basically, the reason why I started triathlon was I found out that I was too old to make Canada Games for swimming. Just for that year, they changed everything. So now swimming for Team Canada or Canada Games it's like ages 14 to 16, something like that. And I just turned 17 before that barrier, or like before Canada Games were that year. So then a guy on my swim team, his dad was a big triathlete, and he told me about it. So I was like, hey, yeah, I'll give it a try. I he gave me this bike for free, and he just basically became my coach. Like, it was just a buddy of mine on the team, his dad, and he would basically force me to go up after every Saturday morning practice. I would go upstairs at the gym where our pool was and do a spin class with him. And that's kind of where it started off. I was like, every Saturday morning I'd do a spin class, and those were like some of the hardest workouts I've ever done, especially after 2 hours of swimming.
That's brutal.
And then from there, it just finally got on the road, and he would take me, like, we would do these 5 kilometer repeats of, sometimes on my road, it's like 1 kilometer, just a straightaway. So we would just do 1 kilometer sprints, just all as fast as you can down, and then easy back, as fast as you can down, easy back.
That's a classic.
Yeah. I also joined this running group, and I would just run with, it was on like Mondays or something. It was this old guy, and he loved the sport of running, and he was a very knowledgeable coach, and it was just drop-in coaching sessions. You'd come, give him a toonie, and the toonie was basically just to like rent because we ran on the track on the ice rink. So you just gave him that toonie, and then he coached us running. And honestly, like, I've never been a good runner, and he definitely, like, the improvements that year I made in running were insane, and I would contribute that to him.
What's his name? Shout him out.
Honestly, it's been a while. I think his name was
Okay.
Alex. I saw him
Alex.
last year at the when we went to the cross country meet. I did see him there, but I was blanking on his name. But
Well, running coaches of Nova Scotia, shout out to you, changing
Yeah.
Aubrey Landry's life.
yeah, I know. Like, because one of the barriers that we had to make. So how the actual, like, tryout process was, they picked the three disciplines were like the 800-meter swim, 20-kilometer bike ride, and the 5K run. So the time, and you had to make a time in each discipline, like each race. So for the 800, I think it was like 11:30. Like, it wasn't that fast. And then the bike, we did a 10-kilometer bike ride just for that. And I don't remember what that time was exactly, but I do remember I placed, out of all the people trying out, I had the second fastest bike time. And then for the run, you had to run 5K in under 20 minutes. And the run was my weakest part. And I think I ran it in 20 minutes and like 9 seconds. But there was a lot of drama and everything. So there was they had their two favorites who they wanted to go to.
Is it two
Canada
kids
Games.
they pick?
It was 3.
3, okay.
Yeah, there was 3 that got to go to Canada Games, but there's like the 2 that were like actual triathletes, and like triathlons were their sport. And I remember they were struggling to make the swim time. And then just out of nowhere, the swim time got slower because they weren't making it. So they changed the swim time so they could make it. And then that kind of discouraged me because, like, I don't know.
Swimming was your part of it.
Yeah, it's like only like a couple of us made the swim time. I had the fastest swim time, the second fastest bike time, and then I didn't make the run time. So that's 2 of the 3 disciplines, but because they changed, and then the 2 guys that they wanted to go didn't make that swim time. So it was just like a lot of politics and drama.
There's always so much politics. And
yeah, exactly.
Don't like that.
It's no different at Triathlon Ontario, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Big culture.
Yeah.
You're in kinesiology. Big sport guy, big sport podcast. Why'd you pick that?
When my grade 11, 12 year in high school, my phys ed teacher, who was also my French teacher, was like a big just health guy. And every day for our gym class, we would do like P90X or like T21. Like most kids hated that, but for some reason I just liked training with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I got excited to do those. Like I basically was doing 3 workouts a day. Like I would do that, and I'd do swimming, and then I probably had some sport after school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like listening to him talk and like how passionate he was like about being fit and how important exercise was. And sometimes when we'd have doubles, we would work out in the morning, and then the second class of the day, he would one day he showed us one of the Netflix documentaries. I'm blanking on the name, but basically one of the food ones, just like
Sure, yeah.
yeah, like the ones that just basically shit on McDonald's and stuff.
Oh,
And that just kind of like
Like
opened,
Supersize Me or
not
something like that.
Supersize Me. It was more like I'm really blanking on the name, but that just kind of like opened my mind and was like, like I've never realized like how bad this stuff is for me and like how important physical activity is.
the
So
founder?
I think it was like Food Inc.
Food Inc. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that one before too.
yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Food Inc. That was the first one I watched. So that just kind of got me super interested in just being healthy, and I've always liked sports. And then I found out, and when I went to apply for university, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do, but then I found out what like kinesiology is. Like kinesiology is sports. So I had kinesiology, and then nutrition and business. Like those are my 3 choices. Honestly, chem was not my favorite thing. Like I was not strong in chem in high school, so it's probably a good thing I never got into the nutrition field. And business, honestly, like talking to my girlfriend's in business and listening to her say business things, it just goes in one ear and out the other. So I'm really glad that like kinesiology worked out, and because if I ended up in one of those degrees, it probably wouldn't have went well. I probably would have ended up switching to kin. I would have found kin
That's
eventually.
a clip we're cutting and sending to her for
Yeah.
sure. That's hilarious.
Oh, I've told her this all the time.
It's not just the business stuff. It's anything she says and one year at the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And through Ken, you started coaching with KDA Performance Training, APT for short. I'm a little involved in that as well, but do you want to talk about how you ended up in that position, and then kind of what your thoughts are on that and what your overall kind of philosophy is there?
So I always knew what it was. I never really, like I knew that students could get involved in the weight room and stuff. And then the day that Elliot actually came and spoke to my first year class, I skipped class and wasn't there. But one of my friends
The only
texted
time
me
you ever
about
skipped?
it. What was that?
Only time you ever skipped?
Yeah, only time ever.
Okay.
And then, so one of my friends in the class texted me about it because she knew I was interested in it. So I sent Elliot the email, and I got the interview, and it was actually Ellie who was who our like coach in first year who interviewed me. So it was kind of weird because it was just like very like I'm just used to him being my coach, and now he's interviewing me. So it was a very like friendly interview. And then I got the position, and I was very excited about it, but also very nervous. Like I didn't really know what I was doing, but it's a very much like learn as you go. And that's how I'm still learning every time I go. And I think of like every time I have a coaching session, it's just an opportunity to learn more and like build more experience.
And if you're not learning, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how
Like first year, I had a session on Mondays, and my Mondays were really long days. So I kind of like, and I was coaching a high school group that could just lift as much as I could. And then I was coaching a adult group
who lifted more.
that didn't lift more, but like they've been doing APT for years. So like, there's nothing that I could tell them. So I just
They're a really awesome group.
Yeah, I was pretty much just standing there and watching them, and just like I'd do like the hey, how are you guys? And then you can only ask how they are so many times. And I also don't like, it's kind of weird. Like, how do you talk to these adults? And it feels weird coaching somebody older than you.
Yeah.
So then second semester, I got put onto a middle school group. And at that point I really got hands-on because obviously none of these kids have ever lifted before. And that's when I really felt like, okay, like I want to be here and I feel useful here. Just teaching them like how to do cleans with a dowel, or teaching them how to do kettlebell pickups. Like kettlebell pickups, such a simple exercise, but for them they still like had no idea what they're doing. So I really felt useful there. And now I'm working with the cross country team, which I really enjoy. And I want to go with cross country team because I know that they are like not as experienced in the weight room. So I could really use that opportunity to like build my confidence as a coach, because I feel like that's where I'm kind of lacking. I'm still not super confident in what I'm doing. I think this year will be a very like big learning year and big experience year, like building experience for me.
Cool. How many sessions a week are you there with them?
So I can look at my schedule right now. On Tuesdays, I coach from 12 until 2 with just the open group. So I think Tuesdays, it's a lot of football guys and a couple football guys and then a couple volleyball girls. And no, I'm wrong. Tuesdays, it's volleyball girls and women's basketball, and then there's a soccer girl. So that's what Tuesdays, and they're a really good group to work with. The women's basketball girls are always like asking questions, and I find I can help them out a lot, and you can tell like they're happy to be, like they want to be there, they want to train. So it's really fun coaching them. Friday mornings, it's football, and it's a lot of the fourth year football guys. So really, it's like I'm just learning more from them. There was one guy, he was doing single leg hip thrust, and normally single leg is kind of it's not, you can't really go super heavy with it, and you can't like, it's awkward to put a dumbbell on you. But what he did was he used one of the RFEs. What would you call those? The things you use for RFEs?
It's a platform for your foot, and it's an RFE platform.
Okay, yeah. So he was using that, and then he was putting a band over his waist, and then he was doing the single leg hip thrust like that. And I thought that was like really interesting. So I just learned a new exercise through him. Yeah. So I find the football boys on Fridays is like really for me a chance to just like watch them and watch what they do and like learn from them, because they're all so experienced in the weight room. And then Fridays afternoons.
Wow, who programs for them?
Yeah, I don't know. And then Friday afternoons, I coach cross country. So I do 3 sessions a week, 2 2-hour sessions, and then cross country is a 1-hour session. Cool. Yeah.
And then how the next question we want to ask you is how do you balance all that between school, APT, less swimming right now, but we will be swimming pretty soon. So how do you manage that? What's your kind of routine look like?
You just kind of get into the habit of it, and you kind of get in the routine. Like this year is weird because we're not really swimming, so it's almost like I have the chance to procrastinate, and I think that's like the big thing. So like I like being busy because then I can't procrastinate. Like I have no choice but to do work on my free time, so I actually get my stuff done. And it does catch up. Like you do have some points where like I really don't want to do anything today. Like I'm just burnt out, and that's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, it's like this is some of the best years of your life, so you just have to like look at the bright side of things. I don't know, like how I do my day to day is I just wake up and do it. Like I don't really think too much of it. It's
find a way.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like I'm used to a busy schedule with like high school and swimming. Like I would wake up at 7:30, get on the bus at 8:20, and I wouldn't get home until 8 o'clock at night, because I would take the bus from school straight to the pool and then practice from 5 to 7 and then get home at 8 o'clock. That was just every day for me. So I'm just used to that like busy lifestyle.
And what do you think about online school versus regular school? Everyone has different thoughts on this.
8:30s are nice for online, but other than that, I just feel lost, honestly. Like it's confusing and it kind of sucks. I miss the couple classes that I do have in person. I find I'm very engaged in them. I'm like actually like paying attention the entire time. But when I'm online, it's too easy to go on your phone. It's too easy to get distracted, or it's just like if they have the PowerPoint on the Teams and they're not showing their face, it's literally just me listening to words and staring at a screen.
Do you turn your video on so they can see you?
Most of my classes are pretty big, so I don't really, unless I have to.
If your problem is like trying to stay engaged and stuff like that, I would try for 1 or 2 classes keeping that video on. It kind of forces you in a way to stay engaged.
That is true.
I've been trying to do that a little bit. and it helps
It
you.
holds you accountable.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because then you can see yourself not looking or not paying attention, and then you'll bring yourself right back.
It'll still happen
Yeah.
where you're like, okay, I'm gonna go on my phone, but then just like real class, you'll snap back. Where if you're in your room, no one's can tell you to snap back.
Yeah. Like this morning in one of my classes, I was literally just like walking. I had headphones in. I was just walking laps around the living room, just listening to the class. And I was like, I don't know. It's so easy to get distracted. But yeah, I mean, it's weird times. It's what we have to do, and we're all going to get through it. So
It's easy to get by, but it's hard to do well.
yeah, you really this year will be a big like self-discipline year for sure.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was not. I think you said when you're done swimming, you want to pick up boxing a little bit.
Yeah, so this kind of like came from me listening to Joe Rogan podcast a lot, listening to him talk about like fighting and like MMA and all those things. And one of my biggest worries about like retiring from swimming is I have my
Your
eating
belly.
habits from being a swimmer, and then to not be a swimmer, I know that the pounds are going to come on. So I need to find something that I really enjoy and something that I think will be fun. And last summer I did a Muay Thai session, and that was one of like it was a super hard workout. I forgot to bring water, and it was hell, but I really enjoyed it. Just like something about just punching a bag it's fun. Like I don't know why, but it is. And I know that if I can join the gym, I can keep myself accountable, because I'm so used to training with a team that I find when you're not training with a team, it's very easy to say, okay, I'm just not going to work out today. So if I join this like a gym, I can keep myself accountable. Yeah.
It's very
Super cool.
wise.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. How
I
many
also
gyms
do
you
have a
join.
dream of like building my own home gym one day.
Oh yeah.
I already have it all planned out, so that's definitely going to be a goal in the future.
Come visit my home gym this summer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Russell Muscle Fitness. What other dreams do you have? What's next for Aubrey Landry? I know you're a little bit behind where me and Brett are in terms of moving on from this place, but what's next?
Yeah, so I still have time to think about it, but as of right now, I'm hoping that after my kin degree, I can go into a bachelor's of education, and then hopefully one day be a phys ed teacher. And then I went to a French high school, French middle school, like full French. So right now I'm working on getting a minor in French, so that way I can have French as that second teachable.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, and they're all like, Canada is just desperate for French teachers right now. So if I can do that, it's almost a guaranteed job. That's what they say. So hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah, that's super, super cool. The last little thing I want to touch on is you were telling me, asking me questions over the summer, and now I see that you're getting into the supplements.
Yeah, honestly, what it was, like how I got into that was like I was just bored of working out in my basement every day, and I just needed something to get me excited about it again. Just not training with the team and stuff. So I reached out to you, asked you some questions, and I got a couple. I've always taken protein like since first year, and I've been taking creatine since first year, but I just was lacking the motivation to work out. So then I was like, all right, I might have to start taking pre-workout. So that's why I reached out to you. And I haven't been taking it since I've been back, because I have that motivation to work out again.
You're with the team. You know, like when you're on your own, it's very different.
But in the summer, like I used to have so many fun workouts. I bought a new speaker over the summer, and I would blast that in the basement, take a full scoop of pre-workout, and just get in like this headspace of like just grinding and dancing to the music in between sets. Like I like a lot of fun working out like that. But I know that like pre-workout's not like a long-term thing I want to take. But for that time, I felt like it's something I needed, because I was just losing motivation, and I was like, I would work out 2 to 3 times a week, and I just really couldn't afford to do that.
Were you a big coffee guy as well?
It's funny, because in grade 11, I would always say like, oh, I'm going to go my whole life without caffeine. Like, I don't need it. Like, I haven't drank caffeine to this point, like, blah, 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 blah.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, same.
Grade 12, I didn't like coffee. And then grade 12, I tried my first iced coffee, and it was just delicious. And it kind of like, I never drank coffee regularly until like first year. I wouldn't drink it in the morning, but say like after class when it was time to study, I would always have a coffee. And now it's like 2 to 3 coffees a day.
Yeah.
It's
good.
it's okay.
It's good stuff. Any final thoughts you want to say? What's going on? Any questions for us?
For you guys, I mean, not really. I see you guys pretty often. Final thoughts, just thank you for having me. Like, this was a lot of fun. I was a little nervous going in, but no, this was a lot of fun for sure.
What's your Instagram? Where can people find you?
Uh, my Instagram is Aubrey Landry _, I believe.
I'll have that in the description. You guys know where to find me and Josh. Josh, do you have any final thoughts?
Anything else you want to plug? Any projects or anything you want to say to the people?
I don't have anything to plug really. I'm just living my own life.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Aubrey. Me and Brett both really appreciate it, and that was a great time.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to be back on the show, maybe in the future.
Yeah, when we start something again, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. Now, the podcast is, if you made it to this point, the podcast is now on a new YouTube channel now. We moved it off my personal one just because new projects we're doing on there. We now have our own separate, the Splash Bros YouTube channel. If you guys can subscribe to this one, that'd be awesome. Give a like, share with your friends. Let's try and get this channel to 100 subs soon. It's pretty awkward having 0 subs right now. So be the first to sub. That'd be super cool. We have merch coming soon. Leave a comment down below if you'd be interested in buying some. And that's all we got for today. See you next Friday. Peace.